All right, it's 4 o'clock on Thursday, September 10th, 2020. We have a quorum, so I'll call this library board meeting to order. There's a public meeting notice out that we've been putting since we're in pandemic times, indicating that we can do the board meeting by teleconference. Today we have one person dialing in, the rest are in attendance here. Second item is the approval of the agenda, which is shown either in the packet that everyone has or on the tablet. And I will make a motion to approve the agenda as shown.
Second.
I have a motion. I have a motion and a second. Are there any changes, Paulina?
No.
Okay, no changes. So all in favor of approving the agenda as shown, say aye.
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 Any, any opposed? All right, motion carried. And there is the approval of the minutes from the August 13th, 2020 Library Board meeting. The minutes are as part of the packet and also accessible here as a selection in the on the tablets. Hope everyone's had a chance to preview them. I will make a motion to approve the minutes as they've been printed. Do I have a second?
Second.
A motion and a second. Are there any corrections, edits that anybody knows about, additions? All right, hearing none, then all in favor of approving the minutes from the August 13th, 2020 Library Board meeting, say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Now we'll move on to the financial report. Paulina, you want to?
Sure. We are 66.67% through 2020, and our budget is approximately 63.89% expended. Some of the bills under some of the line items this month included under general supplies, disbursements to Hilliard and Hermel for sanitizing wipes and service wipes. We're still going through those quite a bit, as well as contractual maintenance building for our annual fire alarm monitoring from Precision, Riverview Sanitation, and Gopher Alarms for quarterly billing for monitoring as well. Otherwise, everything looks pretty good.
All right, so now, since the library was closed for a while, but now that we're reopened and we're evidently going to see, because we're in the sanitizing times, we're going to see an increase in the sanitizing components.
Yes.
Do you think we're going to be, how are we looking at budget-wise for general supplies in that regard?
General supplies, we're at 74.65% right now, so it's a little bit up than normal. We are the extra supplies that we order for cleaning and things like that may be eligible for some FEMA funding as well as CARES Act funding, so that in the future that might kind of balance out, because I do submit those for specifically under different codes when we put the bills in.
So do you know when you'll find out if they get approved for that, or?
Some of them, especially the FEMA, I've been forwarding that to our one of the committees, and some of our other ones are part of a CARES fund. So it just kind of depends on which ones will go. Yep.
So you're right. So we're almost at 75% for the general supplies. We're not that far along on the year yet, so there is a potential then that general supplies could go over, depending on how what kind of.
And we are getting more in than we would normally, just in case.
Okay.
When you order, how much do you spend at a time?
It kind of depends. Like, for instance, I just lost it. I think we spent $400 on sanitizing wipes last month, just because we got an order in. And I know in the past they've been back ordered, so we put in another order than we would have normally, just to be in line to get the next available supplies.
And now you've started back with the regular hours too, right? So the library's open longer.
Yes, we are. We are only open till 7 right now. Our evenings are still pretty quiet.
But you went back to the 9:30 open time from 11, and then Saturdays.
Yes, is our regular
Yep.
hours.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, so there is a potential there. I suppose that it's kind of hit or miss as to how long the disinfectants and the sanitizer and all that lasts, and you kind of keep gauge that, and then you reorder it.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
All right. Any other questions on the budget or the financial report? All right, hearing none, then we'll move on to the librarian's report. We'll start with the library department activities report and statistics. Paulina?
Okay. Myself and our reference librarian had a virtual meeting with Mankato Adult Basic Education. They usually come to the library to hold GED prep classes. However, the semester they'll be doing everything online, and they have been through the summer, so they won't be teaching at all in person at the library. We will continue to provide Teresa Moser's contact information. She's the one who teaches those classes to anyone inquiring about GED classes, and we also try to share that in our social media and newsletter posts. I know she has quite a few people. They actually set some of the individuals that are learning from home with laptops and equipment to conduct those classes. So I think they do have a couple people utilizing that. Otherwise, we had a University of Wisconsin-Madison student who completed a practicum at the library as part of her summer courses at the ICE school. And her last day with us was August 4th. She focused on a couple of areas, including virtual programming. She helped quite a bit in our youth services department, like preparing virtual story times, Lego and Play-Doh challenges, and escape room, and helped me a little bit with some of our digitization, completing that. So that was pretty successful. We had went in and told her she could intern with us at the beginning of the year. So it was kind of nice that she was able to do, she came in once in a while, but also did some of the things for us from home. Otherwise, our contactless pickup has gone down a little bit. We had 39 people utilize our contactless pickup this month in August. We will continue that. We'll more than likely bring the card into the lobby area when the weather starts turning a little bit more.
So you're finding more people are coming in then to pick up their stuff?
Yeah.
Now, how about the book drop? Is that still the 2 days a week
Yes.
that it's...
We still only have it open Mondays and Thursdays, just so staff doesn't touch the materials.
You let
because
it
usually
sit for a couple days before
we
handling?
do that, yeah. Normally we have book bins that we put in, but because of the volume of stuff that comes back, that's not feasible. We don't have enough of those to kind of swap in and out. We do have totes, so anyone coming in can just put the returns in the totes at the door. So that's kind of helped.
What you're saying, you're speaking in a-
Oh, I'm sorry.
Say if people come in, there's a spot inside,
Yeah, so when you come in through that southwest door, we have a tote right there inside the library doors for returns.
So now, is the front door open too, or do you prefer people, or do you want people to come in through the
Yeah, we'll
back?
prefer them to come in through the southwest door and loop around
Right.
and walk in through the and exit through the hallway. But usually we tell people if it's not busy or if anyone's coming in, they can use that door. But as of right now, we still have the front door and that hallway door locked.
Okay. And-
Obviously, people can walk out of it, but
Right.
yeah.
But there's a sign on it indicating please use the other entrance? Okay.
And then I included, we just got some overdrive information this afternoon, and that's what the graphs are that I included. So that is the last year and how our overdrive statistics have increased. So some numbers, our total checkouts so far in 2020 as within the whole TDS region has been 93,596. The total checkouts at this time last year was 68,786. So that's about almost 30,000 increase. And our current holds are about 1,277 audiobook holds, 2,000 ebook holds, and there's about a 30-day average wait time. And that's a decrease, I guess. In the past, we've had a 42-day range earlier this year in terms of how long people had to wait to obtain overdrive materials. So that's just the stats were kind of interesting. And you'll notice on the checkouts by format, the light blue is ebooks, the darker blue is audiobooks, and then videos. And I don't believe we have a lot of videos within Overdrive. And then checkout by title audience. Our adult books are definitely pretty high. Young adult and juvenile are a little bit less. We are spending a little bit more money now. I believe a couple of the county library systems specifically requested more juvenile and young adult titles, so we are seeing more. For the most part, over the last couple of years, the whole collection has been geared towards popular fiction, but we're kind of expanding that a little bit more. So I thought that was kind of interesting.
I know last year when Betty would provide her updates, she indicated that, just keeping up with the overdrive in the books was difficult, and so I imagine it could be more of a problem now with the increase in the usage too, and trying to figure out which books do we want to order, because these aren't cheap, right?
No, they're not, and it depends. And I know one of the purchasers who is doing some of the overdrive purchasing, Jenny Trushensky from Martin County, mentioned that she doesn't do any standing orders because the price also changes. So she does, once something comes out, then she'll order it instead of putting it in a cart for later, like you are able to do. But just the inconsistency in immediate pricing changes. So that's been kind of interesting.
The price that gets charged is when you actually place the order?
I believe so, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
So give me, I apologize for not knowing this, but give me some idea of, what $10 or what $100 or what $500 would buy for an
overdrive book.
So,
yeah, so it depends. For the most part, an ebook or an audiobook ranges in price, I believe, from $30 to $80, kind of depending on what that is. And it's either the way Overdrive does it, it's for 2 years. So usually the material expires after 2 years. There are some that we do have some in the system that are, it doesn't matter how many times a person checks them out or, or it has no time frame. But for the most part, popular, depending on the publisher too, but for the most part, the general thing is that they're good for 2 years or 24 checkouts. So after 24 checkouts, we have to purchase another one, unlike a book, obviously, which, we could if, it's damaged or whatnot. But depending on the publisher agreements that they have, it's usually 2 years or 24 checkouts.
And that when you're ordering the book.
Yes, it says that within the description, yeah.
That is a single unit then, is it?
Yeah, that's a single unit, yeah.
You ever order multiple units?
Yes, we do, yep. And then I know recently one of the selectors reached out to us because we had several patrons on a couple of the titles that kind of sprung out recently. So I think we ordered 2 more of them because we had 2 people on hold for them. So we do have multiple copies of some of the titles. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, anything else on the department activities update?
Yes, I've got a question, Vince.
Go ahead.
Paulina, you're kind of cutting out a little bit, so I apologize if I am not coming through very well. Paulina, I've got a question. Is there a way to know when the video for the cake decorating competition will be shown?
I had that in my notes somewhere. I think it went live on September 4th.
In the programming notes.
Oh,
Okay,
is it? Yeah.
All right.
It should be, the link is in our, in the programming notes. Virtual Cupcake Bake Off, there's a YouTube link in there.
Okay, great. Thanks very much.
Yep, you're welcome. Yes. Oh, sure, yeah. I think you'll be heard on camera if you go up to the mic.
I just had a thought about the communities and seniors together, the CAST group. It looks like the community center might remain closed for quite a while, and I'm wondering if we have any statistics as to the number of senior citizens that are using the library. And then also, is there a way that we could have a partnership between CAST and the New Ulm Library? Even if people come in for meals, for instance, could they pick up library books? Or could we even maybe drop library books off at senior centers or, assisted livings? Or I just imagine a group of people that are really feeling COVID very strongly. And is there a way that the library could partnership with our senior citizens? Do they understand, for instance, how to get a book online, or do they understand how to virtually check out a book? Do you know what I mean?
Yes, actually, April and I were discussing this in terms of going out to some of the senior centers with a selection of books. And if they didn't have library cards, we would be able to sign them up potentially, and for them to be able to check items out at different senior centers. We did, April has been working on a weeding project as well, and we had quite a few materials we just selected from the library, and I did drop off a couple of boxes of books at 2 of the senior centers in town this past month. So I know they were excited about those. But yeah, we can work. I know April is involved with, I believe she's on the CAST board too, so we do work with them quite a bit.
So how often are you getting out there to drop off books and or pick them up?
Well, right now we just did it for the first time this past
okay.
month. Yeah, we have in the past something that Chris Wiley started. We have been also dropping off books at the oncology department at the New Ulm Medical Center, and we haven't done that in a while. But I haven't reached out. We usually did that about every 2 months, but I don't know if they're accepting anything
Good- yeah,
obviously
good point.
right now.
Yeah.
So.
So hope this should continue then? if you do that?
We hope so, yeah. I think that's a worthwhile thing, yep.
All right, anything else then? All right, then we'll move on to programming.
Okay, we have some upcoming virtual programming. This week we have, or next week, Teen Talk Books, a virtual book club. We have a virtual Lego challenge coming up, as well as a virtual family bingo. Our history book club will be meeting virtually again, and on Tuesday, September 15th at 12 o'clock. And our mystery book club will meet on Monday, September 28th at 6:30 in North German Park.
Weather permitting.
Weather permitting, yes.
Now,
Hopefully it gets warmer.
Leroy sent our history book club a notice that it would be possible for us to meet outdoors, and he asked for suggestions for where we might meet outdoors
Okay.
on Tuesday. And Tuesday is supposed to be 80 degrees
Oh,
and
is it?
lovely.
Oh, nice.
So,
Oh, good. Okay.
so let's hope
All right. Okay,
that he
sounds
can
good.
find a place to meet outside.
Yeah, you'd have to get the notification out pretty quickly then too,
Right,
so.
absolutely.
I thought that was outdoors for the October meeting.
The October meeting, oh, for crying
Oh,
out
you better check the email.
No,
I have no problem, I'll bring my seat with me. So
there we go, there we go. No, September's supposed to be, no, September, Tuesday, September's, I'm going to be outside. I might be on my phone, but I'm going to be
I
outside.
think that's where.
So then that brings up the question of last month we asked about, Ruth Ann brought the issue up that kind of spurred all this about maybe using the meeting room downstairs for that, for spacing and stuff. Did anyone
Right.
look into that to see? I know there's.
I have been a little bit, right now, we've decided not to do any meeting rooms at this time. Obviously, weather permitting, we'll look again in October and November. We did, it'll be in next month's financials, but we did opened up the economizers on the units, so we are getting more fresh air into the building as well. So we'll see how that goes. And I was going to talk about it in the library reopening, but we can talk about it now too. There's no one at the Traverse Des Sioux Library Directors meeting this morning. There's no one who's planning on opening up any in-person or meeting rooms through the end of the
Really?
year within the region. So obviously that doesn't mean we have to go that way, but as of right now, I think we're gonna not open that up yet.
Yeah, I mean, there's pros and cons. I mean, we got
Right.
the space, it's big enough, we could do it because our group isn't huge.
Right.
But then you've got the added maintenance of, okay, then you have to disinfect the area afterwards, and who's going to be responsible for that,
Right.
and the time and the effort to do that. So,
Paulina, is there any citywide group or policy or practices regarding the various buildings that the city operates as to whether they're opening themselves to public meetings or in
Parks
our
and Rec
case-
has opened up their meeting rooms, yes.
So is the city establishing a policy or letting each department make their own decisions regarding that?
I've spoken with our city manager, and as of right now, we're not going to open up at least through September at the
Okay.
library. But yeah, little bit of both. Yeah.
so like for this room here, then, I mean, who's responsible for cleaning up after we're done?
I believe one of the maintenance technicians.
Okay.
But
You can also, with the use of that, you can limit it to X number of people.
right, and there's a lot of who,
Necessary, you can have a sign-up sheet ahead of time.
right.
Right.
Yeah, and a lot of I saw something. Someone mentioned that whatever building I believe it's actually St. Peter. They don't have meeting rooms open, but they do have something operating at only 25% capacity of whatever rooms they have. So
Right. But I mean, for the groups that we have, the history group and the mystery groups and stuff, the number of people, the max, a dozen people, I mean, that there's more than enough room down there, I would think, to spread everybody out. But then again, it's the upkeep and the maintenance then, and having to disinfect it afterwards. All right, anything else on programming?
Nope.
All right. Now the next item is the Brown County Library Board update.
Okay, so myself, along with the Brown County Library Directors from Springfield, Comfrey, and Sleepy Eye, and our Brown County Library Board Vice Chair, Carl Zeitler, met with the Brown County Commissioners for a budget work session on August 24th. And the Brown County Library Board had requested a 1.5% increase to the budget allocation from the county. And that was not approved. Our allocation will be capped at the same level as 2020, which for New Ulm will be approximately $16,700.
May I ask why?
They foresee a tough year ahead.
Well, it has to do with the budget and what they perceive are going to be some issues receiving property tax revenue in a timely manner and other costs associated with the pandemic that I think Chairman Borchert indicated there wasn't any department that was going to see any kind of an increase this coming year in 2021.
That's certainly understandable, and that's what I expected. Just wanted to verify that.
All right, any other questions on the Brown County Library Board update then? All right, and then is there anything additional on the library reopening and the phasing update?
Yeah, sure. So like you mentioned, we are open 9:30 to 7, Monday to Thursday, and Friday and Saturday, 9:30 to 5. Our outside book drops will continue to be open only on Mondays and Thursdays. I don't know if I mentioned it at last time's library board meeting, but the Friends have decided not to hold a fall book sale this year. So we will not be accepting donations at this time. We have, currently we don't have any computers, tables, or chairs available for use in the children's room, and I think we'll stay at that capacity for now. That's the only space where we're really kind of, we have a cap of 15 people up in the youth services department right now. And I think we've only reached it once or twice. We did set out tables and chairs upstairs, so we have 5 tables with individual chairs in case anyone needed an area to study for a little bit. But we won't be enabling any in-person tutoring, collaboration, or group project work.
So upstairs, that's in the reference section then?
Yeah,
or-
in the nonfiction area along the 2 east and west walls. But otherwise, everything is going well. We still, request that patrons keep their visits to 30 minutes to find books, pick up holds, make copies, and receive reference assistance.
So pretty much no loitering.
A little bit, yeah, unfortunately.
Paulina, how has that policy been accepted by your patrons?
Pretty well. I know we in the past we've had some requests for study areas when we didn't have any chairs, and it's only been like 1 or 2. I mean, people by themselves, so it hasn't been any group work collaboration. Which I know we have had some tutoring in the past. I think in the building, but for the most part, okay. I know we had some concerns or individuals looking for chairs and toys for the children to play with in the youth services department within like the last week or 2. But for the most part, we haven't had many issues.
So for the people coming in for the studying then, I mean, 30 minutes is not a long time. Are you making an exception to that, or are you holding them to the 30 minutes as well?
32. We do enable people to stay at a computer for an hour, so we're suggesting an hour.
Okay. As long as there's, not a big buildup of people waiting and that
Right,
kind of
yeah.
stuff too, so.
It's pretty much first come, first serve.
Yep. All right, and then question on so you mentioned the children's room. So all the work, all the remodeling that was done in there, that's complete?
Yes.
That was completed, and then the carpeting, I know we were working in phases. Do you have any idea as to when maybe the next phase is going to be going forward for?
More
the
than
carpeting?
likely in the next year sometime.
Okay.
We do have it allocated in our budget
Right.
from the general fund, so that might be our next step, yeah.
All right, any other questions on the library reopening?
Well, I think I'd just like to say that I want to commend Paulina and her staff for the manner in which they've managed the reopening of the services the library provides to the public in keeping the staff safe and well as the patrons who utilize it, and keeping that foremost as they continue to expand the activities and services they're able to provide as we get further into the pandemic era. So thank you.
Thank you. We have a great staff.
And speaking of that, that rolls a perfect segue rolling into the staffing update.
Yeah, I know. So we have been without 2 library aides for a couple months now, and we had those posted, and the posting closed on September 7th. We received 30 applications, and we anticipate interviews occurring the week of September 21st. So I think
Doing face-to-face interviews, or did you try and do it online? Or?
So we're going to do face-to-face. They're actually, I found out today, they're going to be in the city chambers right here. Usually they're in a different room in this building, but they'll be in here just for more space.
All right, great. All right, that's it for the librarian's report. Are there any other questions for Paulina in any regard before we move on to the action items? All right, let's move on to Resolution 2020-15, approving update of the behavioral policy. This is the, I think, unprecedented third reading
Yes.
and adoption. But we are in unprecedented times, and I find myself saying unprecedented a lot. All right, approving the update of the behavioral policy. The behavioral policy was reviewed and approved in April 2016. Enclosed are the current and updated version of the behavioral policy listing code of conduct expectations in the library. The penalties section have been left unchanged. The library director spoke to the city attorney for appropriate language prohibiting smoking near the library building and or entrances, and it is enclosed in the attached behavioral policy. These changes are recommended by the library director and have been reviewed by the city attorney. So I'm not going to read the old policy, but I will read through the new one. It's a little bit lengthy, but we got a little bit of time here. Library behavioral policy, maintaining a safe library environment conducive to library use. New Ulm Public Library is used by hundreds of people every day. To maintain pleasant facilities for all who visit, the Library Board has established the following rules of conduct for the comfort and protection of all who work in and use the library. Patrons are expected to adhere to the following code of conduct. Number 1, respect staff and other library patrons. Patrons must follow library procedures when instructed to do so by staff. Number 2, respect the library property and safeguard personal belongings. Number 3, harassment, verbal abuse, threats, and fighting are prohibited. Number 4, patrons need to be respectful of library furnishings, equipment, and materials, and hence may not deface, mark, or mutilate any library furnishings, materials, or equipment. Number 5, tobacco products, and or other burnable products may not be used in the library or on library property. This includes no smoking, chewing, rolling, or display of tobacco, other burnable products, or electronic cigarettes. Smoking is not allowed within 30 feet of library entrances. Number 6, library patrons may not possess, consume, or be under the influence of any intoxicant or any controlled substance. Number 7, carrying weapons of any kind is prohibited. Number 8, all library materials must be checked out. Theft or defacing library materials or other library property is against the law. Number 9, patrons may not violate any local ordinance, state, or federal law. Number 10, activities that pose a safety hazard to the individual or others are not permitted. Number 11, disruptive behavior, including disorderly conduct, noise, and activity that interferes with the rights of others to enjoy, use of, or perform work duties in the library are prohibited. Earphones must be used by library patrons if listening to their devices. 12. Any behavior that interferes with another person's ability to use the library is prohibited. This may include, but is not limited to, talking loudly, using abusive language, using personal listening devices that disturb others, running, emitting, overpowering body odors, and game playing that disturbs others. People may not solicit or beg library patrons in the library or on library property in a way that is disturbing to library patrons or interferes with library patrons' access to the library and its materials. Number 13. Clear water and coffee in a covered container are permitted except at computer workstations. Other beverages and food may only be possessed and consumed in connection with events sponsored by the library. Number 14, using skateboards, rollerblades, skate shoes, or scooters in the building or on sidewalks and the parking lot adjacent to the building is not permitted. 15, use of public restrooms for bathing and or laundry and use of other public areas for personal grooming is prohibited. 16. Bringing shopping carts, bicycles, skateboards, scooters, or similarly bulky articles into the building is not permitted. Baby strollers and those articles necessary to assist individuals who have disabilities are permitted. 17. Patrons may not enter an area that is designated staff only. Except for library programs, patrons may not remain in the library after closing or after a request to leave, including emergencies and evacuation drills. 18. While cell phone use is permitted in the library, it may be prohibited when it interferes with another person's ability to use the library. 19. Bringing animals into the library other than service animals is prohibited. 20. Parents or caregivers, not library staff, are responsible for the behavior and safety of their children using the library. Children must be monitored by their charge. Leaving young children without adequate supervision is prohibited. 21. Footwear, shirts, pants, shorts, or skirts are required at all times for hygiene and safety purposes. Bathing suits or wet clothing are not permitted. 22. Conducting any type of for-profit business without authorization is prohibited. And 23. The solicitation of signatures or contributions for non-commercial or non-profit purposes is not permitted except when authorized by the library director or designated staff. Section 2 is penalties. The library director and his/her Designated staff are authorized to interpret and enforce these policies in accordance with applicable law and to assure appropriate behavior of all persons in the library facilities. The degree of the violation will determine the response. Staff is instructed to call 911 immediately in response to any behavior that is deemed dangerous. Staff will call police for any behavior that is in violation of federal, state, or local ordinances. Staff will call the police if a person or group of people is asked to leave the library and they refuse to leave and or become uncooperative with the staff member. For most other violations of this policy, one warning will be given. Continued violations will result in the patron or patrons being asked to leave the library for the day. A serious violation or repeated violations or a violation where the police are called may result in longer exclusions from the library. An individual who is banned from the library may be criminally charged with trespassing if they return to the library property during the term of the ban. Any individual who is banned and whose library privileges have been revoked may request to have the decision reviewed by the library board. So, I will entertain a motion to approve the updated behavioral policy that I just read.
So
I
moved.
so move.
All right. I
I'll
have
let you. I'll
two
second.
motions. Do I have a
So
second?
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Are there any discussion? Any further discussion? Questions?
Just one question. Inside the library itself, not on the ground, the police ever called?
Inside, we have in the past, I think we had to call an ambulance within the last couple months for someone. So I know the police department came as well.
Yeah, but,
Yeah.
for disruptive behavior.
Oh, no, not to my knowledge, no.
Are you expecting this now when you try to promote or try to stop the smoking outside?
No, I think you're just asking. I don't think we'll need to get to that degree of enforcement. We'll see.
I don't think we're being radical with the no smoking policies. I mean, most places in Minnesota and businesses are already prohibiting on property. Any other questions? Discussion? All right, hearing none then, and then all in favor of approving the update of the behavioral policy, say aye.
Aye.
I
Any opposed? Motion carried. There is one section I'd like to mention that disruptive behavior, let's see, any behavior, talking loudly. Our mystery group sometimes gets pretty loud, so I'm surprised we haven't been turned in,
Not yet.
or the police called.
That's because Ruth Ann is.
right.
There we go, that's right, yeah. All right,
Well, if you got banned, then we might have to review your banning at some point.
that's true.
That's
Yeah.
true.
We may have to change the rules on. All right.
Yeah, that's right.
Resolution 2020-17, approving the 2021 library fees and fines schedule. This is just the first reading. Approving 2021 library fees and fines schedule. The City of New Ulm annually revises its schedules of fees. As a part of this, the library is required to update its fees and fines schedule. Library director proposes the attached schedule for 2021 fees and fines. And the only change noted was the fee for audiobooks and CDs is to increase from 25 cents to $1 in line with DVD sales. Changes proposed by library board members will be incorporated, and a second reading and adoption of the library fees and fines schedule will occur at the October 8th, 2020 meeting. The schedule will then be submitted to the Finance Department for final approval by the City Council. One change I would make on that is either call it 25 cents or $0.25. Because 0.25 cents is a fraction of a penny. So just
True.
make that change. All right, any other business?
I just had a question about the fees. I noticed you're charging $1 for the coffee packet, the K-cup, and that's. Are you, during this time, are you still selling those?
We are not. Right now, we have the Keurig in the back area.
Right.
Yep.
Okay. That's what I expected.
Yeah.
But,
Okay.
thank you.
Yep, good point. Yeah, there's probably, during these times, there's probably a bunch of changes that are not being enforced
Right.
or
We
not being
are,
utilized.
right, we have not been, renting out some of our other equipment, like our projector and things, but I
Okay.
think we'll start that back up
Yeah.
because we
Okay.
have had some requests.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm thinking that hopefully in 2021, the restrictions will ease and we'll get back into doing more normal business. So then this will be out there for a month for public review, and then we'll take it up again next month. Any other issues on the library fees before we move on? All right, any other business, Paulina?
Nope.
Anybody else have anything for other business?
I just wanted to comment the new website.
Oh, oh, good. Thank you. Yep. So it's a citywide revamping of the website. So Lisa Pelzel has been working on that for us. So it's been great. There's still more work to be done, but we're kind of taking it in phases.
Yeah, I did notice that too the other day when I went to reserve a book. I usually know the click and then move over here to click this, and I went over there and it's like, oh, what's this? It's missing. It's did I get the wrong page? So, all right. So
All right.
he-
Somebody
hearing
else
nothing
have to
else,
sign
then
up.
we can adjourn the meeting. Thanks, everyone.
Yay.
Thank you.
Yep.